the duplicity of that is very clear. It's obvious to me that Miss Sober, because of her personality, her strange behavior, and I put in a letter to the minister, I believe she has a touch of megalomania. Because of those qualities, let me break it down and find change. That means the illusions of grandeur. It's a condition that some people have. Particularly people who have moved from one station in life and are elevated rapidly. That could happen. Some people can't adjust to the reality of their new circumstances. It's a serious condition. Therefore, what the government is doing is using her as a whip to suffocate and beat the council that they did not gain a majority of votes. Again, a complete negation of the principle of democracy and of majority rule. Ms. Sobo was born on the 2nd of December. I wasn't here to wish her a happy birthday. 1961. And came to the City Council on the 15th of November 1997 as what was euphemistically referred to as a legal clerk. It's a misnomer because the only experience she had was that of working at the deeds registry in New Amsterdam. And I shall begin by saying that in her application, which the pursuing officer can confirm, she listed certain magistrates as the person she worked with as legal assistants or legal clerks. She mentioned now Justice B.S. Roy. Checking with him, he said there was no justification for her using his name because his recollection is she may have been part of a pool of clerks and that to the best of his memory she was assigned to him for about 4 at the most 5 days. And he had it, and he said, like I mentioned, in any event, because of those few days, he would not have considered prudent to recommend her. Miss Sewell, who has been foisted on the council, lists her qualifications as a teacher at several schools. Ituni, Mackenzie, and a few other schools. In her file, she also says she has CXC and GC. In her file, she has not yet, up to this date, provided any evidence to support the claim that she has these certificates. Nothing was ever produced. But this good lady began her working life at a Tower Hotel in 1979 as a dishwasher. Her name then was Parvati Gopal.
That's right.
And she's had meandering path since then, and it is unfortunate that such a person should be able to buck, be disrespectful to the office of the mayor. Forget who holds that office. Forget that that office at the moment is held by a man who was once Prime Minister of this country. The fact that she could restrict without explanation, without discussion, the supply of fuel to the mayor's vehicle, the fact that she can restrict the supply of basic stationery to this mayoral complex. And you'll see the condition of this office as you came in here. The fact that she can refuse whimsically to carry out decisions of this council demonstrates the character of the person that has been imposed upon us. I could spend next half hour giving you examples. But the one that I've used before is that lying idle is a working long boom excavator. The council took a decision that in order to get on with the work in the city, particularly the time when Christmas is upon us, to settle with the truck contractors who haul the garbage away. Ms. Sobel refuses, gives no reason, and puts in the statement 2 weeks after, not implementable. We took a decision to advertise for the kitty market so we can get on with the job. Nothing is done. She simply puts not implementable. For the first time in the history of this municipality, from the days of the colonial era, at the anniversary of the constabulary annually, it has always been the prerogative of the sitting mayor to make on-the-spot promotions. That has been a tradition from the days of the British. For the first time in the history of this municipality, Ms. Parvati Gopal Carol Sobel has refused to sign the instruments of those persons the mayor identified for on-the-spot promotion. It shows you the depravity and the crassness of the person Mr. Whitaker and Ganga Prasad say is suitable. This good lady has caused, and I say it without fear of contradiction, pain and grief of the late Councillor Desmond Moses, who died, I believe, died of grief, if not hunger, because in his latter days he has suffered certain financial reverses. And Ms. Sobel, even though excuses were tendered, because he and other councillors, including the mayor, do not attend certain meetings, she has again, without discussion, without a decision, decided, like Hitler or Stalin, to deduct sums from their paltry stipend. Again, the first time this has happened in the history of this municipality, because it was pointed out that the mayor and councillors in spite of the rubric about duty allowance and traveling, function every day in their lives. When, as I would mention 2 Sundays ago, Councillor Ian Andrews, Gregory Fraser, who's here, the Deputy Mayor, and others, Shirley Shepherd, led a group of persons to clean up Stabroek Market. If any of those councillors did not attend the meeting the next day, the most Honorable Parvati Gopal Karasura
That's right, Gary.
decide to deduct sums from this stipend. She's deducted sums from the mayor's stipend. And I'm on duty 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. People call me all hours. When I go abroad, as I did last week, I went there in my official capacity to attend a forum, a conference of mayors of the United States, of the Americas, and the Caribbean. I was on duty. And in that particular case, I did not ask the council for a single cent. But because of her dictum, the mayor's vehicle to take me to Mary had no gas. And the mayor had to put gas in from his own pocket. That is the person that the ministers say is competent. I don't want to burden you with further examples, except to say that we have reached a sad and sorry state. It is this Tom Clark who is so parsimonious that you see the conditions here. The flooding you have in Joshua, a resident of Norton Street called me. A judge tells me he lives in the Chili Bar Villas and the place floods. You know why? Refuse to pay the contractors. She has again, on her own, removed the street orderlies to work with the new compactors. She has, in spite of a decision by this council, the decision was to retain the services of Sevens and Dartmouth for obvious reasons. She on her own dismisses them. The new god, or goddess if you wish, a city hall, compliments of the PP Civic Administration. This lady who is so parsimonious, I will ask Common Fraser to read out her salaries. You have it? Yes, sir. So you get an idea of the tragedy of this whole situation. Come here. The same lady who can't afford to buy ink for the mayor's office.
$788. Duty allowances, $14,819. Traveling allowances, $8,458. House allowance, $8,000. Entertainment allowance, $10,000. A total remuneration of $355,065.
And that's against the background where the vehicle she uses collects all the gas they need. No restriction. But the mayor, who is a public figure, does more work and is forced to respond to the concerns of citizens. She has restricted in old vehicle to 5 gallons twice a week if it suits her. If fact, last week, after I left the country, I had to put in my own gas. There was no gas in the vehicle. So the person who was carrying out the duties of mayor didn't have the use of that vehicle. That is the point that we have reached. But this is part of a governmental charade. Right now, they have mobilized a group of people to work in certain communities where we understand they'll be spending $12 million in 10 days. If there was any consultation, I would have told the government, give us that money or give us a truck so that we can do the work we're supposed to be doing. But no, they decide how they're going to do it. And of course, I can expect the government media to go out there with the cameras, and the Chronicle or the Ghana Times will have some headline, as we had before, government saves the city or comes to the rescue of City Hall. A usual essay that has been recited over the years. But even that has its strangeness, its contradiction. When we remove dirt from the city, we are required, because of the new regulations, to take it 8 miles up to H-Bar. The government, as they're desilting Sussex Street Canal, they're dumping the sludge right south of the gymnasium on Mandela Avenue, at a time when we should be honoring Mandela. Because it's the PNC, and I was part of that decision, that in honor of Nelson Mandela, named that strip of land, that road, which takes the East Coast and a corridor through Georgetown to the East Bank, Mandela Avenue. Go and have a look at what's happening. It's dirt, it's unacceptable, ugly. And that is the problem we face. And I have no doubt that the cameras will go out there, the state media, to show what a wonderful contribution the state is making to the city. And Rohi will repeat his nonsense that we have failed. We have failed because the person imposed by them, compliments of the minister, is the person making the decisions and calling the shots. And it is therefore hypocritical and dishonest for the government to blame this council when they know full well it is their client that is making the decision. And I gave some examples, and I can spend the next hour giving you other examples. Thank you very much. We are getting a little tired of merely responding to these absurdities and vulgarities of the government. And we have decided that the urgings of patriots and members of society, to notwithstanding the suffocation, ineptness of the chief administrator, to get things done. 2 Sundays ago, quietly without fanfare, we went out there, as I told you, several councillors, some officers were involved, fire brigade was involved. We cleaned out a tunnel that we didn't know existed for years under the thing that goes to the public building. It took us about an hour and a half. These councillors here with the fire cleaned it out. So that should flow now. We're hoping to get society to fill up some voids that exist by the car park, which Mr. Ben took away. It was a money-making exercise, and where people are urinating and defecating there every day. We're going to move away from that and seek the cooperation of the media and civil society, the business community, the religious organizations. And on Monday, hello? No, she's not, I'm sorry. On Monday at noon, sharp, we're inviting members of the public business community to a forum at the Pegasus, discuss what we can do as citizens, not as mayor, not as the council, as citizens, to improve the environment in which they live. As I said 2 Sundays ago, we started along Stabrook Market. If we hopefully at that session, and I've asked either Dr. Yasu Prasad to be chairman or Mr. Bishweshwar Ramsaru, one of our most enthusiastic environmentalists, Dr. Raquel Thomas, has agreed to be the moderator. And at that session, we hope to bring together people of every walk of life, of every race, religion, political persuasion, to recognize that the city deserves better, and that we have to overcome this assault by the powers that be. 2 Sundays ago, we got excellent support from some of the business community. Sylvie gave us tools. Where's John?
Richard.
We got tools from who?
Baichandin.
Baishandin. We got help from Munishwar. We got assistance from several sources. I would like to publicly thank them. And the fire service did an excellent job. Some recruits did a good job. The vendors out there came out to help. And we hope to repeat that, to replicate that exercise. The PRO was there, though he had his hands in his pocket for most of the time. But he was present and gave guidance and leadership. So we hope to do that, and hope that some of the young reporters here will come with their short pants or the shimmies. We'll supply with gloves when we identify the area for the next exercise. Let me say something to the pretty young girls here. That exercise will help to enhance your complexion. A few hours in the sun working hard. So that's it. Any questions? Any comments?
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Any questions from members of the